everyone, welcome to the next video. In this video we are going to be diving into MetaBox setting pages. So I'm in the back end here, and in the MetaBox menu we're going to choose settings pages. We're going to go ahead and click new settings page, and we're going to do custom settings is what we'll name it. And I'm just going to copy that and paste it here as well. And we want this to be a top level show after. We're going to set this down to settings just so it shows down here as well. Default first submenu title, I'm going to leave blank. My dash icon, I'm going to set to a wrench, but you can choose whatever you want. And you can also use custom SVGs or a custom URL for your icon, but I'm just going to use the dash icon of this wrench. Let's scroll down some more and see what else we can set here. I'm not going to change the required capabilities or CSS. For style, you can choose boxed or no boxes. I'm going to choose no boxes. I'm going to leave it at 1 columns. And next what we're going to do is set tabs up. So I'm going to click add new. We're going to enter our key here, and I'm just going to do general and general settings. Make sure you spell that correct. And I'm going to add one more tab here, and we're going to call this company and company settings. And you can add as many as you choose. I'm just going to do 2 for now. And we can choose our tab style, whether you want it to be top or left. I'm going to go with top just for this. And I think that's all we're going to set here for this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit publish, and it'll automatically set our settings page ID. So next what I want to do is come over to my custom fields, and we're going to add a new one, and we're going to call this one it's going to go along with our general settings, so we're going to call this general settings group. And for my settings, we're going to come over in here and choose, instead of post type, we're going to do settings page. And in our drop down here, we're going to do custom settings. And now you'll see that since we set tabs, we do have to choose our tab. In this case, we're going to do general settings. And now we can come back over to our fields. And again, you can choose your tab style here. I'm just going to leave it as default. And back over to fields, we can start adding in our field groups. So let's go ahead and start with our general. We're going to do a text field here first. And I think for this one, we're going to do footer copyright. And I'm just going to rename this as well. Leave it as text. For our text description, we can put something in here. Can say something like enter any footing text such as your copyright. And I think we're going to be good with that field. We can choose to change how many columns it is. In my case, let's go ahead and bring it down to 6, which will take up half of the space. So I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller. And we're going to jump to our next one, which is going to be, I think we're going to do a little fun one here. So I'm going to add a field here. And I'm going to add all the way at the bottom. You can use some layout things. So I'm going to do a divider here and just leave this as is. Minimize that. I'm going to add in another field. And we're going to go with a switch here. So it's under the advanced group here, and I'm going to choose switch. And what we're going to be doing is building out a header notice. So I'm just going to label this enable header notice. We're going to leave this as a switch, and we can put in our descriptions if we need to, but I don't think we need any for that. What we're going to do down here is we want to label our custom on and off. So I'm just going to do enable and disable. You can choose whether you want it to be on by default or not, or required, and I'm going to just leave those blank. And for this, I am also going to set this to, let's go with 6. So again, that'll be half of our width once we get there. I'm gonna now minimize this, and we're gonna add another field. And this one, I'm gonna go all the way down and choose the WYSIWYG editor under the advanced here. And we're just gonna label this header notice text. And the reason I am choosing the WYSIWYG editor is so that we can actually put links in there, where if we just use a text area, it might only be a notice instead of letting us build in some sort of linking to a page. So from here we can add in maybe an input description. All right, and I'm going to change my columns to 6. And I think we're going to be good there. I'm going to go ahead and hit publish on that. And we are going to add our next one. So in this group, I'm going to call this, we were doing it for our company settings. So we'll just name it company settings group. Under my settings, I'm going to do the same thing. Under our location, we're going to switch from post type to settings page. We're going to choose our only one that we have set up, which is custom settings. And then we're going to set our tab, which is going to be company settings. Now I'm going to jump back over to my fields. Let's see here. We left our tab style the default, which is default is blank as well, so I'm not going to change that like we did on the last one. Under our fields tab, we're going to first enter email, so you can just start typing that in here, and we're going to do company email address. For our label, actually we're going to do an input description. We don't have to do a default value, and I am going to set my columns to 3, so that'll take up 1/4 of the space when we get there. Next, I'm going to minimize that one, and we're going to add a telephone number, which you can search as phone. And this one we're going to do company phone number. And we're just going to add in a label for our input description. We are going to set this to 3 as well. And I'm going to minimize this. Next, I am going to add in a text area, and we're going to call this one company address. And again, this one I'm going to set to 3. And you could choose to do the Google Maps field here, but you do have to enter an API if you do that. So I'm just going to stick with the text area here. just so we can show the address. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize that, and we can jump to our next one. Next, I'm going to again add in our divider. I'm not going to change anything there. I'm just going to minimize that. And next, I'm going to add in a checkbox list. So let's go ahead and choose that. And we can label this days that you are open. And again, you can label these how you choose to. That just works for me. For our input description, let's put in a description saying check all days that you are open. And for our choices, what we are going to do is just do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Make sure you spell those correct. And you will see that you can also set your values like this if you so choose, but if you do just put in one, it does both for the value and the label. So I'm just going to do the one like this. I am going to do a display toggle all button. So that's going to allow us to just click one button to check all of the boxes. And for this one, I'm going to set its width to, or columns to 3. And we're going to come back here in a little bit. So I'm going to minimize that. And next we are going to enter in just a text field. And we're going to do Monday hours. Actually, I'm going to do Monday open hours. For our input description, we're going to say enter your hours for Monday. And let's see here, let's set this to 3. And actually I'm going to do enter your hours for this day, just to save myself a little bit of time here, because what I'm going to do is just duplicate this a bunch of times. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now I can open up my next one here, and we're going to do Tuesday hours. And that way I only have to type a little bit less. So I'm going to minimize that, and we can do this. Let's delete out the copy, and we can do all right, and so on and so forth. If we didn't duplicate this, as I label these, the ID would change automatically. So that is one downside to duplicating, is it won't do that anymore. All right, only 2 more here. And our last one. All right, so we are good to go on those. So what we're going to do now is on each of these days, we're going to jump back into them, and we're going to go to advanced, and we're going to do conditional logic, and we're going to add a rule. And what we're going to do is leave it as visible when any conditions match. And what we're going to do is we're going to set a field here, and we're going to have to come back up to our days open. Going to copy this, and we're going to paste that in there, and we're going to do match. And what we want to match is our label. So because we put them in as making our value and label the same, we do want to make sure that it is capitalized. So you see that we have when days open match Monday, we're going to show this field. And we're just going to repeat this for each of the days now. Let's go down to Tuesday. Let me minimize this first. And I suppose I could have done this before I duplicated everything, but this way you get to see a few more times how we set this. So again, we want it to be visible when any condition matches, and we're going to paste in our field here, and then we're going to type in the day as it matched in our checkbox field. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize that one, and we're just going to continue to work our way down here. Add our conditional logic, paste in our field. We're going to set to match, and we're going to type in the label. And you'll see once we get to our settings page exactly how this is going to look. Did I do Friday already? We didn't. All right. Only 2 left. And you do want to make sure that you get your spellings matched here correctly, otherwise it's not going to work. And our last one. All right, so we got all of those in there, and now we can go ahead and hit publish. So now let's jump over to our actual settings page. So you'll see that right under settings where we added our page, it is showing as custom settings. So I'm going to go ahead and go in there, and you can see that because of how we set this up, we have it set to it was a column of 6, so it's only taking up half of that area, and we have our 2 tabs at the top here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over just some data for our copyright field, because I don't remember the how to make this symbol. I just copy it every time, and you could set this to be whatever you want. And typically in my case, I use Oxy Extras, which has the ability to put in the copyright dynamically to always have the current date. So that's typically what I do, but I have seen a lot of themes have options to add in your footer copyright text. So I just wanted to show you how you can do that here. So we did that, and then you see we have our enable header notice, and I can either enable or disable, and that's showing as what we put in for our labels here. And then here is the field for that. So what we could do is say, type any type of thing. This is a notice. For more info, please click here. Or please visit our info page. And we're just going to highlight our info page. And if we click this little toolbar toggle, we do get more options here. But all I'm going to do is click Insert Edit Link. And in our case, I'm just going to put a hash here since I don't have an actual page, but you would put your link in there just like that. And now I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom and click Save Settings. Now let's jump over to our company settings. So you will see right now that none of our hours text fields are here, but if I go ahead and click Monday, Monday shows up. If I click Tuesday, Tuesday shows up. And I can also do toggle all, and they all show up for us. So what I'm going to do is just fill all of these in. I'm going to do email at company.com. For our phone number, we'll just do 555-555-5555. Company address, we'll do 123 Main Street. We'll do New York, NY. I don't know what the actual zip code is there, but we'll just enter it like that. And again, if you're in a different country, you can enter your address as need be. But I'm in the US, so I'm going to do something like this. And now for our hours, we're going to go ahead and just go through and set all of these. So I'm going to do, let's do 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we're going to just copy and paste this through all of the days, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, let's do 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we'll do the same thing here. And again, you could also put closed here, and maybe I'll just do that. Or you could also just choose to hide this field. It's up to you how you want to do that, but I just wanted to show you the options here of what it would look like if you wanted to conditionally show these. All right, so we have all of our data in our 2 tabs here all filled in. So now let's go ahead and jump into Oxygen. So I'm going to go to my templates, and I'm going to add a new template, and we'll just do pages for this one. And I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. And now typically what I would do is set this as my main template that inherits everything else. But since I already have one for this site that I made, I'm just going to start with a brand new one here. But in this case, this is how I'm doing it. So I'm just setting, as for my example here, doing settings page template. So let's go ahead and dive into Oxygen. And while this loads up, MetaBox did a really good job of integrating with Oxygen. The team did it, made it very easy to do. So let's go ahead and start by adding in, and I'm going to pull in some things from our library. I think I was using the hosting before. So we'll do sections and elements, and I'm going to do a header. And we'll choose this one, and we'll also add in a footer. Go with this one, and then I'm going to add in my inner content, and I'm just going to set that between the 2 here. So we have that in there, and the one thing I didn't mention that I probably should have is there's one thing that in settings pages that is currently not working, and I'm guessing it's something that Oxygen and MetaBox are going to get working before the full stable release. We are still in the alpha version, so it's the first integration where everyone gets to test, but they recommend not putting it on a live site yet. So one of the things that I would also have put on in my settings page is a logo field, so that a person can just upload their logo right there and we could pull it in. But when we do that, it doesn't actually work properly. It just shows as empty. So that is why I didn't do that in this tutorial, but I did want to mention that, and I do expect, as I mentioned, as the next versions come out from Oxygen, I expect that to be resolved. So most of what we did was things we're going to put in our footer. So I'm going to start down there, and then we'll come back up to the top for our notice. So you can see we have 4 columns down here. In my second column here, or third column, I apologize, we have our heading, and I'm just going to change this to company info. And you can see we have 3 text links. I'm going to delete one of them, and we're just going to add in a text field at the bottom. In our first text link, we are going to go ahead and double or triple click in here to highlight it so we can do insert data. And now we'll come over to MetaBox field, and you can see any of our fields that were put into our settings page get this blue color to them. So this lets us know that these are from our settings pages. So what we want to first do is add in our company email address, and I'm going to click insert and done, and you can see that showing there. We also need to do the same thing on our URL, so I'm going to click data, MetaBox fields, and again you see that they are blue here, and we're just going to choose our email field, and we have that set. I'm going to come down to our text link, and I'm going to click into insert data, MetaBox field, and this one we're going to choose company phone number, insert. And what I'm going to do is copy all of this, because as I mentioned in my last video, the telephone link is a little bit funky compared to the email. It doesn't operate how I would expect it to, and it is something that I brought to the attention of the Oxygen team. So we will hopefully see that fixed in the later releases as well. So I copied this shortcode, and I'm going to click done, and you can see our phone number does show up there. And when I come up to data and MetaBox field, you can see that our company phone number does not show up here. And this is what I'm talking about, that I would expect this to show up just like email does, but it doesn't. So this is why I copied that shortcode, so that I can paste that in here. And what I'm going to do is scroll all the way to the front here of my shortcode. And we're going to just type in TEL with our colon. All right, so we got that set, and now we can come down to our text area here. So we can double click this, insert data, MetaBox field, and we're going to go to company address, and we're just going to insert this and click done. And you can see it's showing up as different colors, so we can see what they set here for our class. So I'm just going to do, actually I'll just set the text color here, which I think they go with this gray here. So that way it matches everything. So I'm going to go ahead and click save, just so we have that set. And let's go ahead and dive to the front end. Got a critical error. I'm not sure what's happening here. All right, so what I ended up having to do is just go to my home page, which is what we are previewing here, and I just needed to render the page using the template that we're using. I was trying to pull 2 templates, which is why we were getting that error. So once I set it to settings page template and clicked update, everything was showing properly here. So you can see that we have our email here, and when we hover it in the bottom left hand corner, it is showing our mail to link. When we do the same thing with our telephone number, we're getting our proper tel link in the bottom left corner, and we have our address here. So let's go ahead and jump back in here, and see what else we can set. Since I have this open, I'm going to go back to my settings page here. We did want to also set our footer copyright. So in here, I'm going to change it down here. So in our Oxygen builder, I am going to double click this area, and we're going to still leave the text that's below it, insert data, meta box field, and footer copyright, and insert, and done. And you can see now it is pulling that in correctly. So again, I'm going to hit save. We're going to refresh this on the front end, and you can see that changed for us. And again, that is pulling from our custom field here. And so far we have our company email address, phone number, and company address. Next, let's go ahead and add in the hours. So jumping back into Oxygen Builder, what I'm going to do is actually delete this fourth div, and I'm going to duplicate this one. And I need to go back and fix my columns here because it made them all 33% when I deleted that. All right, so we should be good here. And what I'm going to do in this one, I'm not sure why it's showing the fields here and not here, but what I'm going to do is just delete out our text links here and just leave our text that we have on this one. What I'm going to do is type in Monday, colon, insert data, meta box field, and we're going to choose Monday hours and insert, and done. And you can see that it is pulling that data in. You can also choose to just bold Monday. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can see that jumps out a little bit more. So next I am going to duplicate this 6 more times so that I have every day showing here. And what I'm going to do is just double click. We're going to change this to Tuesday. And it looks like I may have broke it. Let's try this again. I'm going to just hit undo here and see if we can't fix that. I'm not sure why it's putting those inside here. Let's just go ahead and delete all of these. And you can see this is why they have alpha versions come out, is so when you get some goofy things going on like this, you're not breaking your actual site. So let's just start over here. I'm just going to add in a text field. We are going to, again, click into insert our data. We're going to type Monday. I'm going to bold that right away. Make sure I'm at the end. I'm going to hit space, insert data, meta box field, Monday open hours, and insert. Click done. And again, I'm going to change my text color to this gray. And let's go ahead and duplicate that. This one, we're going to change to Tuesday. Highlight that shortcode, insert meta box, Tuesday hours, going to insert and done. And again, we're going to duplicate this and just continue until we've got all of these done. And again, you can see it jumped my Monday around here. So I'm going to hit save here and refresh on the front end. I just want to see what shows up here. All right, so we do have our Monday and Tuesday showing properly. I'm going to hit refresh in Oxygen here. When I was doing this and testing it out initially, I did not run into this issue, but I don't recall if I was actually duplicating the field or if I was just adding a new one each time. So let's try this again. I'm going to hit duplicate. I'm going to copy everything, insert data, meta box. We're going to choose Wednesday, insert, and now I'm going to go ahead and type in Wednesday, and we'll highlight that. And again, we're going to bold it and click done. Let's go ahead and duplicate again. And again, you can see it's bumping it around on me. I'm going to hit refresh. All right, we'll try this one more time. Yeah, it seems like when I try and duplicate, we're getting an issue. So I'm just going to hit refresh, and I'll just add text fields in individually going forward so we don't have to waste time here. But you can see sometimes you get some goofy errors, and again, that's why Oxygen releases things in alpha and beta versions first, is just to ensure that if there are issues, they can get them fixed before the official stable release. So I'm just going to again click add in our text field, and in here we're going to type in Thursday, space, insert data, meta box, Thursday, and insert. I'm going to come up to my text and make this gray right away so I can see everything. And we're going to make this bold, and done. So we have that there. Let's come back up to our div, add a text field. I'm going to make this gray right away, and we're going to double click, insert, meta box field, Friday, and insert. Jump before my shortcode. And we'll make that bold again, and done. And only two more here, so just bear with me. And you might be using classes if you're doing this instead of just setting the text color every time. That's typically what I would do, but I'm not doing this for design purposes right now. I'm just showing you how to actually pull in all the data. And let's get our last one in here. All right, so we have that done now, and you can see we have all of them in here. I'm going to click save, jump to our front end, and we can see that all of them are showing up. So now what we can also do is come in and set some conditions. So I'm going to do just Sunday for our purposes here. I'm going to come up to our condition symbol up here, and we're going to set conditions, add your first condition, choose our drop down here, and we're going to go to dynamic data, and we're going to choose metabox field and Sunday hours and insert. And all I'm going to do is in our center field here is set this to is not blank. don't need to add in a custom value at all, because as long as it's not blank, we're going to show it. So I'm going to just click this X and click save. And if we go to the front end and hit refresh, you can see it's still showing there. But now let's go back to our actual settings page, and I'm going to just delete out this value, and I'm going to uncheck Sunday so it's not showing. And I'm going to click Save Settings, and I'm going to click Refresh, and you can see Sunday disappears now. So what I would do is just repeat that on all of these, and actually if I was building this out on a site on the stable version, I would do it on the first one and just continue to duplicate everything, and then just change my custom data as my text field here. So again, you set your condition, add your first condition, choose condition, which is going to be dynamic data, metabox field, and this one is going to be Saturday hours. Again, you want to choose the one for the day that you are editing. Click insert, and in our center we're just going to do is not blank. Then you can click the X and we can hit save. And you can also set these in our conditions here to show hide based on conditions. So it's actually going to hide it based on the actual condition. So you can see Sunday actually disappeared here for us. And Saturday is still showing because we do have data there. But if I go in here and now we delete out Saturday, and even if I'm not going to uncheck the Saturday checkbox because the condition isn't pulling there. That's just whether we show this field or not. But when we go to our front end, you'll see here that now Saturday disappears as well. All right, so we've covered all of our fields on our company settings. We have all of our hours covered, address, phone number, and email. So now we're going to do our final one, which is our enable header notice. So what I'm going to do is just enable this so that it is on, and I'm going to click save. And in our Oxygen builder, I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to refresh it just to make sure that we're pulling that in properly. All right, and what I'm going to do is add in a section, and I'm going to drag this all the way to the top. I am going to choose a background color, and we're just going to choose this nice red, and in here I am going to add a text field, and for my font weight, I do want to go a little bit more than just your default 400, and for font size, we'll set it to 18 pixels as well. I am going to set some padding on my section here. We'll just do 1 rem. We'll see how that looks. That should probably be fine. So now I'm going to double click in here. We're going to insert our data, metabox field, and we're going to choose our header notice text. And go ahead and click insert and done. And you can see that pre-fills. I am actually going to go to my section here, and we're just going to center this up a little bit. And you do see that when we are pulling data in from our editor and or a WYSIWYG, we do get a little bit extra padding around that. You can take that out, but you do have to actually go into your style sheet to do that. But I'm going to leave it in there just to save us a little bit of time here. But you can see this is our notice, and it's showing, and we do have our link. I'm going to click save, jump to our front end, and you can see that's up here. And you can see our link is working down in the bottom left here. So now let's set up our actual conditions for this. And this is going to be done on the actual section. So again, we choose our condition settings, set conditions, add first condition, choose conditions, and again we're going to choose dynamic data, meta box field, and this time instead of the text we are going to choose enable header notice, and we're going to hit insert, and we're going to leave this as equal to, and we're just going to type in true. So go ahead and click the X on that and save. We're going to jump to the front end. We hit refresh and you can see it's still there, and that is because we do have it actually enabled. So I'm going to disable this now and click save. And when we come back up here, hit refresh, you can see that it disappears. So that's a nice way to be able to have a header notice to quickly put in without having to go into the Oxygen Builder. In the current day and age, you see a lot of companies have a notice like this going over COVID information. So that could be where you are actually linking to on your page is a COVID page, or anywhere else that you see fit based on your specific needs. I just wanted to show you a way to use a couple different field types in our settings pages so that we can enable and disable on the back end here, and again have some different settings here to toggle on multiple fields and get it to actually show up on the front end. So again, we pulled in our hours, we pulled in our address, phone number, and email, and we even pulled in a header notice. And again, I'll enable that again just so we can click refresh and see that show back up. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I apologize for some of the errors we ran into while duplicating some of these fields. And again, that is sometimes how things happen. But I'm going to go ahead and leave all that in the video just so you guys can see how I worked through it. If you guys have questions, please let me know. Leave them down in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next videos.